You can see that this is the idea they used for this, the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge in Louisiana, USA. Where the bridge would have been sagging, they put these big pillars underneath to support it. The pillars are like the stick we put under our board. The weight of the road and any cars or trucks driving on it pushes down, so something is needed to push back up. Otherwise, the bridge will fail or break. So these pillars help push back up on the weight, keeping the bridge from sagging or breaking. Now, as long as you have lots of supporting pillars, it's possible to build a bridge as long as you want it to be. The Lake Pontchartrain Bridge is really long. It's one of the longest bridges in the world. Now, when you build a paper bridge, maybe you could try building pillars out of paper. But poor Charles can't just build a bridge with pillars all along it, because, as you recall, Charles has to deal with a really deep channel. Plus, he has to have space for really big ships to get through. So what options does Charles have? Well, thinking back to our board across a stream, suppose we had a situation where the bridge is going over something really deep, like this. You can't easily just put a stick or a pillar to support a bridge in the middle, because the middle is too far down. But you can put two pillars off to the sides, like this. Now you're supporting the middle of the bridge. Notice where the force of the weight is pushing? It's pushing off to the sides. This is what some bridge designers have chosen. Here, and here, and here. You can probably guess what this kind of bridge is called. It's an arch bridge. Arch bridges are a very popular design for bridges. Maybe you even have one near where you live. So, could Charles use an arch bridge design? This definitely would make a beautiful bridge, and it wouldn't have any pillars underneath, so that's great for his problems. But unfortunately, Charles can't use an arch bridge design because arch bridges can only be so long. If they're too long, the sides won't support the weight of the bridge. The longest arch bridge in the world, this one, is just over 550 feet across. Now remember, the gap of water Charles Ellis needs to cross here is over 5,000 feet. That's a mile across. So an arch bridge might be good for you to try out today with your design out of paper, but this wouldn't work for Charles Ellis. He needs a different design. There is a third design that's possible. Now in the pillar bridge, remember, you're supporting the weight of the bridge by pillars that are pushing up on the bridge from below. And in the arch bridge, you're supporting the weight of the bridge by putting two pillars off to the sides, so pushing up on the bridge from the two sides beneath the bridge. But in both of these designs, notice they're pushing up on the bridges. What if you didn't have anything pushing up to support the bridge? Could the bridge pull down from something instead? Well, it can. This kind of bridge is called a suspension bridge. If you know the word suspenders, that's easy to remember. It's called that because the bridge suspends or hangs from these two towers up here. It's a pulling force. The road is here, and the weight of it, plus anything driving on it, is supported by these ropes made out of steel, which are attached up here to two towers on either side. This is the design that Charles Ellis chose to cross the channel of water. And when he did this, he created the most famous suspension bridge in the world. In fact, all this time, I haven't told you the names of the towns he was connecting. The city on one side is San Francisco, California, and the city on the other side is a town called Sausalito. Now, by now, you might be able to guess what the bridge is that Charles Ellis designed. It's this, the Golden Gate Bridge. The suspension bridge design solved all of Charles's problems. It was able to cross the wide gap of water, but without needing any pillars in the middle where the channel is so deep. That kept the channel free for large ships to come through. In order to make a suspension bridge, Charles and the construction crew had to construct two large towers to hang the bridge from. This is an actual photo when they were doing construction. Both of these towers were placed in the fairly shallow waters off to the side of the channel. Then they hung the bridge itself, the roadway, from the towers by making use of incredibly strong cables made out of steel. That's these. When it was completed in 1937, the Golden Gate Bridge was the longest suspension bridge in the world, and it still makes the top 10 list. But even if it's not the longest suspension bridge anymore, it's still the most famous, probably for its beautiful design and its striking dark orange color, and the incredible views from almost anywhere near the bridge. People often ask, why is it called the Golden Gate Bridge? I mean, it's orange, not gold. Well, the channel of water underneath is called the Channel of the Golden Gate, so the bridge is named for the channel of water that it crosses, not because of its color. If I look through binoculars, I can even see this bridge from my neighborhood in San Francisco where I live. So that's the story of Charles Ellis, the engineer, and the bridge that he built, San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge. Now would be a good time to stop and think about the different kinds of bridge designs you've just seen, and what makes a bridge strong.